Hey, everybody, welcome back to Friends Occasionally Not Disagreeing. It's your favorite podcast, the FONDpod. And we have in the house with us tonight Brett and myself. I'm Cody, and then we have a special guest with us here tonight, which we'll introduce. It's Dan. How are you, Dan?
Good. Thank you
Excellent.
guys for letting me join you.
Yes, no problem, no problem. We're going to be talking all things Smashing Pumpkins tonight in just a little bit here. But let's just do a real quick, what have we been up to for the last week? Or if Dan has anything he wants to plug, I think he said he had something he wanted to share. Why don't we let Brett you go first? What have you been up to? What TV show on Netflix have you and your wife gotten through this week?
Oh shit, that was completely different how I thought I was going to answer that question. No, I'm forcing my poor wife to watch Dune 2
Okay.
because it is a favorite of the kids in mine. We're trying to get that to sink into a Halloween costume idea. But the other item that I'll recommend that is on YouTube for free is the British television show Taskmaster. If you've never seen it, it's a game show, but there's no prizes and no winners. It's they have people do really menial tasks with like funny twists and stuff. It's very British.
I was at a Taskmaster themed birthday party like a year or two ago. I forget now. At least a year ago. Maybe it was last summer, but
That's amazing.
another sometimes host on here, Dave, had a Taskmaster. It was a surprise birthday theme from his wife, but we did some weird challenges, including I forget, he and I had to. I was paired up with him for one game randomly with the draw, and like I had to cut food with my right hand while he held it with his left hand or something.
Oh God.
And I just thought, kudos to you, because I don't know that I would trust somebody if the roles were reversed right now. So
Like a sharp knife?
yeah, it was like a bladed knife that I was like slice, 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 and he just took it in stride. But I was like, I don't know if I could do that. But good for you, buddy. So
Normally in the actual show, the chances of losing a digit are quite low.
we are not unprofessionally
zero.
fake professional actors, though. So it's, could have happened. But anyway, yeah, definitely not zero. Okay, well, let's go to Dan then. Dan, what have you been up to? Just a reminder for our
Okay.
host, Dan, that your name is not Brett, just to be clear on that. But we're good. We're good.
It's hard work. Okay, so I have been on a team planning a spacecraft mission.
Actually,
Seriously.
wow.
So we've been in moving back to the University of Michigan. I've seriously fallen into a team where we're trying to develop a 2 spacecraft mission to look at the aurora from the northern and the southern hemisphere simultaneously. Never been done before. And we're currently in competition with 3 other missions that have completely other science goals. And we turn in our final multi-thousand-page report to NASA next week.
Good
So,
luck.
yeah, it's like a wild time, and like the whole time I'm like the guy who's like, what do we do next? So it's been like this huge learning experience, and like we have a 1 in 4 shot maybe. So
You
Yeah.
started saying that. I was like, oh, he's just making this up. You're serious about this, though.
yeah, 100%.
That's
gonna-
amazing. I love that.
Oh, hold on, I'll show you.
Yeah, wait.
I found him. We have a logo and a sticker and everything.
Oh,
That is official then.
Yeah, it's the magnetospheric auroral asymmetry explorer. And the whole way this works is that we have spent the greater part of a year taking what was an initial idea and trying to figure out all like everything. It's like when I say we, I mean it's like a big team and I'm like a piece of it.
hmm
If NASA doesn't pick it, it's for nothing. Like it's nothing.
It doesn't go anywhere after that.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, just go rogue and put your own things up there next to NASA's and be like, fuck you.
It's a good idea. I should do that.
Yeah, we can tell NASA to fuck off on this show.
We
It's
can
okay.
we can call Elon Musk for you.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Dan, remind our listeners, since we haven't had you on in about 80 some episodes, which is about how often we can stand you. So,
Fair.
what is your degree in again? Your PhD?
So it's atmospheric and space science. It's a really weird degree in that um it's basically it's not astronomy, but it's space physics near the Earth. And our department, the history of the department is that we were originally back in like the early days of the space race, launching rockets up to measure the atmosphere, and eventually they get high enough that it becomes you're measuring space. And so that's why it's an atmospheric and space science degree. And now our department is called climate and space. So we do a lot of fun, cool space stuff. And then you go to the other side of the building with all the climate scientists and you get existential dread.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So for our viewers and listeners, we just want to make sure again that we remind you having a PhD in all of these fun, spacey things does not qualify you to have a better musical opinion than anybody else. Just get that out at the onset here. So
I mean, it doesn't qualify for a lot of things. Yeah. My dad used to say I might have majored in physics, but I minored in dumbass. So
that's funny. Okay, Brett, what have you been up to? You better be impressive after that. What do you got?
Well, my first week of coaching a sport that I have never played went pretty well.
Yeah.
The kids on the soccer team seem to be listening fairly well for 7 to 9 year olds. They are definitely a bit of a handful to do by myself, but it's been pretty fun so far. And yeah, I think they're learning some things and we're having fun, and that's all that really matters. So we have another week of practice. We have 2 practices this week, and then next week is our first actual game. So we'll see how that goes. But it's been pretty fun so far.
How many kids do you have on your team?
9.
Yeah, that's a handful.
And we play 8 on 8, and I have 9 kids. So at least I don't have to make too many choices, like as far as roster wise. But
yeah.
No doubt.
But yeah, it's been pretty good. Let's see, it's been, like I say, it's been fun. I'm sure it'll be fun. It'll continue to do that. So,
what age group are they?
7 to 9.
7 and 9.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's scarier if they were older or not, because I feel like if they're older, if I was in your position, they would be like, "Hey, how do you do this thing?" And if it was a sport that I never played before, I'd be like, "Oh, hold on, I need to go to the bathroom," and I would sit in the porta-john watching
Study
YouTube
up
until I could come out and tell them something.
While 7-year-olds just run around.
Yes. But that's
How many kids are here tonight? 1, 2, 3.
Well, it is a lot like that because you have younger kids, kind of just want to have fun, and I have like 3 of the older ones, like probably know more than I do, and
oh man,
so like trying to like teach them things is like basically every practice of ours I've been like studying my butt off like the day before the practice to come up with like things that it's kind of like I have something ready that's just like fun and like gets them moving, but I also need to like be able to teach something to the older ones to have to make it feel useful for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely the thing. We also what was the other thing I was going to talk about?
This is awkward, but I think it was about your team. It was one of 4 that was going to send some things up into space to compete with.
No, I don't have anything like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh my goodness. I had it and I just completely lost it. I guess I'll just. Oh, that's what it was. I finally beat Elden Ring, the DLC.
Oh wow.
Oh, jeez.
I've been stuck on the final boss of the DLC for 3 weeks.
How come you didn't lead with
one
that
boss?
Like Cody's like, Cody, it's got to be really good. You got to top that. And you're saving this in the back pocket. Oh, I'm coaching the kids. I'm being a good role model. I fucking beat Elden Ring.
Well, it's wild. It's I told some of these guys before that I feel like it's like the most difficult gaming experience I've had trying to beat that boss. And I legitimately, the way it went down was like I've been stuck on for like 3 weeks, like trying, not like every day, but like here and there trying. And I basically got to the point where I feel like I am too old to beat this boss. I hate to say that, but legitimately, like my reflexes are not good enough because everything comes at you so fast, and like his attacks have like these flashes of light associated with them, and so like there'll be a flash on the screen, and all of a sudden he's hitting you with something else, that I could not see coming because my eyes can't handle that. And like, so I ended up, there's actually a way to cheese the boss by using this invisibility spell and this thing that like cloaks you to look like something else in the environment. And essentially he walks off the end of the map and dies. And that's how I won. That's how I beat the DLC and moved on with my life.
Like that's how that was the strategy you wound up turning to. Meanwhile, some 14-year-old hepped up on Adderall is like, come on, man, let's fucking go. This is easy.
Yeah. Didn't even get hit. Just
yeah. When the light flashes, you got to dodge. Boom, boom.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So, anyways, I finally get to move on. I think I'm going to go on to. I have the Cyberpunk 2077 DLC I bought a while back, and I haven't started it yet. So I'll probably move on that next.
Oh man, what a lead in that is. I have been up to a few things here and there this week. I've been trying to watch a lot of video game adaptations for our podcast next week. Including...
Oh, I mean, you must have gone to the theater to watch Borderlands.
I missed that one, unfortunately.
So did the director and the writer and the actors.
I did watch episode 1 of Cyberpunk Edge Runners today, though, on Netflix. And I made it 12 minutes into the first episode and was like, I don't think I'm gonna make it through this. And then I was like, no, I should at least give it an episode to let it see what it is. And then at 18 minutes, I did turn it off, and I was like, no.
Oh no.
So I couldn't get through one episode. It was kind of, I don't know, the art was okay, but it was like the dialogue was kind of weird, and there was just like shit that didn't need to be in there within the plot to like just to start us off. And it was like very like, I like to multitask my time these days. If I'm watching something, I'm usually on my phone as well, or like somehow splitting my time. And I was like, this was written by somebody who just like split their time like six ways and made this show while they were doing it. And it's, I didn't enjoy it. I don't think I'm going to get back to it. So that one's out. I did go back and revisit all but an hour of a classic movie from the probably early 2000s, Silent Hill. I just started watching with my daughter, so we have about 45 minutes left of that. We started it Friday night. And
can we talk about how weird of an awesome movie that was?
It's interesting because I knew in my memory, right? Because the movie's like, what, 20 years old now or something, give or take. Mm-hmm. And I was like, in my memory of that movie, I thought it was really, really good, and then I hated the ending. And so far, it's been really, really good, but we're not to the ending yet. So we'll see if it pays off better now than I thought it did back then. I don't know. But yeah, and beyond that, the only other thing I guess I'll plug is I had paused Fallout 4, where I was playing it just as I got to the Institute finally, which is, if you haven't played the game, kind of like this specter boogeyman that's kind of over the whole plot of the game. And then we finally get in there and promptly get some plot reveals, and it has since become so boring since I got into this place after I waited to get in there for, I couldn't tell you how many, dozens and dozens, or I don't even know how much time I have in that, because I don't even know how to check how much time you played a game on PlayStation. But anyway, very disappointed how it kind of just like ground the game to a halt, and now I'm like, I should go back and do more stuff, but now I'm kind of like, I lost a little motivation because of that too. So anyway, but yeah, okay. All right. Well, let's jump into this here today. So this is going to be our podcast on top 10 Smashing Pumpkins songs. And we got a few things to chat about on the onset here, I guess. One, this was both a band that I thought would be fun to look at their discography from, and two, kind of a chance to reconnect here with Dan and bring him back in with us again on the podcast. It's been a while for him. He was here for our Tool episode way back in episode 40 something. I don't know. It's been a long time ago. And if I associate Dan with good bands, it's typically Smashing Pumpkins, Tool, and Slipknot. Not to mention his love of bad bands like Cold Chamber and Seven Dust. All right, let's move on. So there's that.
God, I haven't listened to Seven Dust in so long. They had one song, and I'm like, this song's really good.
I recall you having way more than one song on your playlist in college, but that's just me. Yeah, anyway, but so I was kind of joking that this was a podcast we had talked about doing like sometime midsummer, and just kind of like some of the other podcasts we've had recently has been just kind of eternally pushed back for different scheduling reasons and different things that have come up and whatnot. And so I feel like I have been listening to the Smashing Pumpkins for about 2 months, give or take, straight. And I was kind of joking in one of our group chats that I must have like at least 50 hours of listening to them in the last 2 months. And it's funny now, like I think it has essentially broken my Spotify algorithm where it's just like, hey, you want to hear some Smashing Pumpkins? And I'm like, no, not really. I just need a little break for right now. And they're like, oh, okay, here's some Metallica. And then the next song is like Smashing Pumpkins. And I'm like, no, I meant more than one song.
Yeah, you broke your algorithm.
That's cool. You really think I love them now, which I do, but not maybe as much as you think I love them now. So, okay. So Smashing Pumpkins, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this. You've probably heard of the band before, just pulling some information off Wikipedia's page here. Essentially, they're from Chicago, which I didn't realize till about a year ago. So that's kind of cool, I guess, since I'm in that area now. And essentially had a stretch from about 1988 to the year 2000 where they were active as a group, and then kind of took a hiatus and then came back around 2006 off and on again till today. So it's kind of one of those bands where I think like when they took that first break, you were like, is this band done? Are they ever going to come back? Or is this, but they have came back and they've made quite a bit of music since then. So
Including an album that was just released a few weeks ago.
yeah, good call.
Yeah.
They're literally still making music. So, yeah, but anyway, so I guess just again, not to belabor this too much here, but we do have one Billy Corgan we should probably mention as the kind of face of the Smashing Pumpkins, the driving force behind, if you will. And Billy is an interesting dude, I would say, as a quick label on him. I was not aware of the fandom he had for Disney until Joe shared that in the chat a couple weeks ago. Do you know about this, Dan?
I didn't.
Apparently
I thought you were going to go right to him in pro wrestling.
No, I'm going to get to that in a second, but apparently he's a huge Disney fan and like loves to go to the parks and ride the rides. And Joe shared a picture of him like riding like Big Thunder Railroad or something, like, but not smiling in the front row of the ride. It's just
Well,
like
there was also the meme where they take the note from 1979 and they hold it while he's on the roller coaster. And
I've seen that one.
that's good stuff. I mean, he looks like he's a vampire. Let's just put that out there too at the start.
he's also really freaking tall, like in real life. So he's got like a whole lurch factor going on.
Okay. Yeah. More of a Nosferatu than Dracula.
Yes.
Yeah, really interesting guy though. He's done some solo work. He has the spin-off band Zwan, which I asked Dan if we were covering Zwan songs for this. He said no. Unironically, I do love whatever the album's called, Mary's Swan of the Sea or something like that, Star of the Sea, Swan of the Sea. I do love that album quite a bit. I'm confused on that though, because that's not on Spotify either. But apparently there's a second band named Zwan that's out there, and there was some sort of behind the scenes stuff on that. So I don't know if that's like he can't use that name anymore or how that works. But anyway, the band lineup has mostly been, let's say, the term anchored by Billy Corgan and James Iha and Jimmy Chamberlain. And then beyond that, it's kind of flowed a little bit. They had Darcy back in their early heyday, who was the lady bassist. I think everybody was like, cool, because they have a lady bassist in their group. That's cool.
Back in the 90s, that was hot shit.
Well, a lot of shit was hot shit back in the 90s. Not me, but a lot of other shit was. So
when did the drummer come back?
I think I read, was it for Zeitgeist? Was it after that?
Because it was a
Corgan and Chamberlain. Yeah, I think basically sometime around Zeitgeist.
Okay.
It sounds like, because I think there was something I was reading about how Corgan brought him back into the fold and also let him have a little more say than he used to have with the songs. I think they said that was one of that one or one right after that. They said was like the first time Chamberlain had producer credit.
And he had like a lot of drug problems in the 90s, and that's why they dropped him right before Adore. At least that was my understanding.
This is why we have you here, see?
But yeah, there was so much churn in the band towards leading up to a Machina or Machina, however you pronounce it. And so that Chamberlain would cycle in and out. Melancholy at one point was Corgan by himself recording every instrument in the studio because, I think Corgan and Iha have been the two anchor points, and there's been a lot of drama with everybody else. And at one point, they did a MTV Unplugged set that was really good, and they're interviewing the different people and on stage, and they're talking about trying to get over this beef with that person. And finally, the interviewer goes, "Well, we haven't heard from James Iha," and he goes, "Man, I just want to rock." So
I did read something about, when they were recording one of the later albums, it was like, and then Corgan went in the studio and proceeded to like lay down the tracks for like these 12 instruments. And then later they're like, we'll find somebody to play those instruments when the time comes. Like, I'm going to do it all right now. And then, which is, I don't know how that interview goes exactly. If you're the person to like come in and be like, hey, we just need you to play this part of this song that I already played, and I'm Billy Corgan, so don't fuck up. But yeah, I don't know anything else we want to say about the band on this. I mean, they have some, I would guess most of the listeners at least would be familiar with Siamese Dream. This is back in the early 90s, Melancholy and Infinite Sadness in the mid 90s, and maybe even Adore in the like late 90s, because I still feel like they were kind of on that initial 90s wave of popularity at that point. Past that, I don't know if people would know everything they've done unless you're a bigger fan of theirs. But
Machina kind of marked the point where a lot of people assumed they were done. That album came out, they released, there was the Machina Part 2, and then there's just a big lull when I think a lot of, including myself, I'm very, very guilty of this. They just, okay, that was Smashing Pumpkins. Okay, next band. So my confession to you both is that when I started actually doing my homework here for this one, and Cody's like, dude, you got to listen to some of their newer stuff. I open up Spotify and I'm just like, oh shit. There's
Where
a
did
lot
these
here.
albums come from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say like probably since we graduated high school, we've heard their names here and about, but like not really associated with new music that I could remember, like between then and now, like the last 25 years almost. I don't know. At some point they must have played like one of these songs on the radio and I heard it, but I just kind of dismissed it because it didn't catch me enough. And like I had no clue they had this many albums or this much output too, because like some of these albums are just have tons of music on them. So it's kind of an oddity that they kind of just disappeared, but were never gone.
Yeah. It's interesting too, like we've done a lot of these music ones, although we commented it's actually been quite a while since we've done a music episode, but officially they have, I think, maybe 13. I thought I counted 12, but now I think I'm counting 13 studio albums to their name, which is a lot, but it's like it's still not as many as some bands have out there. But then you get into like the Atom, I don't know how to say this, Atom, I guess, right?
I guess,
the rock opera, which is like a triple disc thing. It's not just like a single album either. It's like a disc. I call it disc. See, that shows where we were listening to the Pumpkins last. Triple album rock opera, which is just fucking amazing that they made a 3-album rock opera in 2022, 2023. But yeah, just a ton of stuff coming out here. And definitely some different eras in their career. So, but yeah, I'm with you guys. Basically, I think Adore was the last thing I listened to 98, and then I don't think I had listened to any of these until, for whatever reason now, I think one of the stations down here when I would drive started to play some songs off 2018's Shiny and Oh So Bright album. I think that's how I must have first heard some stuff off that album, and then like I got into that album a little bit. And then so I was like, okay, they are making new music, but even then I still really did not go around and listen to the rest of this stuff very much, if at all. So there's that. So I got to ask, because I feel like you two would have a better chance at this maybe, but have you guys seen them live? I have not.
No.
Oh, this is one that I haven't caught. They
Okay.
they weren't even like part of the music festivals or anything that I had been to. So
Okay.
I will say that I've seen some of their songs performed live, and on this very limited experience, I felt like they were a band that sounds way worse live than they do on their album. But I don't know. That's very limited.
I could see it maybe because like they really produce the sound they're going for. So maybe if you're live, you just can't replicate that as much, without coming off as like ingenuine and having like extra tracks playing over the band and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Cody, can I ask
right.
you a question real quick? I'm really super curious about this.
Yeah.
Of the new albums that you've listened to,
Yeah.
how do you compare them with the old ones?
That's a good question. I would say, and I'm not an expert on this by any stretch because like I said, hadn't listened to some of these until preparing for this, but there's, I feel like the first two, Gish and Siamese Dream, are very, and I should mention also, I had never listened to Gish before, I don't think, and I don't think I know I had never listened to Siamese Dream in its entirety before this, but those two really come off to me as like more of a coming of age type sound, and also message with some of the lyrics about, growing up and things of that nature. And then Melancholy is probably, I think, probably had to be like their zenith, right, for public awareness, I would think. But that was a double one as well. So that one had a lot of stuff on it in terms of styles and types of materials, but that one got a little darker at times. It rocked a little harder at times. And I feel like they kind of kept that into a door, and that got almost like slutty's not the right word, but like it got like weirdly dark for dark's sake, I feel like, on that album a little bit. And then they kind of popped up with this 2000 sound, which I think more or less has kind of carried on through some of these, where the emphasis seems to be more on like maybe the music than the lyrics, I would say, on most of these later albums. I know like there were a lot of songs that, like, I'll mention my comments on some of these, that I really, really got into how the song sounded, but I don't know that the song was really saying anything. But it just sounded really pleasing to my ears. Like I really did enjoy it. And then also maybe like a little more artsy with some of these later albums as well. Like they just kind of worked as like a art piece more so than like a list of tracks on the album. And that's not all of them either, I would say, but definitely like the Atom Rock Opera and Oceania, and there's some other stuff in here. Even the Machina ones, I thought a little bit was kind of like almost like they were like threading a single story together across the whole album more than I got on like the earlier things. So what do you think, Brett? Do you have any comments on like that?
I could see where you're coming from with some of those comments. I did listen to most of the newer albums. I didn't listen to all of them in their entirety. Just ran out of time to do that. The one thing I would say about the newer stuff is I did kind of feel like I enjoy the sound of it. I don't enjoy Billy Corgan's vocals as much anymore, which is unfortunate. I don't know if it's, I mean, I'm sure because he's, older than us, certainly. So he's got to be nearing 50 years old.
Yeah.
It's probably just the fact that his voice is changing a bit. He just can't quite hit the same notes as he did. But there is a like it's less gravelly and just purely like a higher nasally pitch, and
the Corgan wail.
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has got like its own unique thing.
Yeah.
I don't enjoy it as much, sadly. But the music itself, for the most part, is pretty solid. I did like I listened to most of Sear, that's CYR, whatever you want to pronounce that. Just the fact that it's like very different in that it has a lot of like has a lot of synth in it. Like it's like synth rock. Which I thought was interesting, and it had some really interesting sounds in it. But yeah, I think overall it's pretty solid for the most part.
It's a good call on synth. There's definitely a lot more of that on the later albums as well. Yeah, I'm on that same Wikipedia page. It says their style has been described as gothic rock, heavy metal, grunge, psychedelic rock, progressive rock, shoegaze. I'm not even sure what that is. Dream pop.
I don't either.
That's interesting. Dream pop. I never heard that term before, but that kind of matches up with a couple songs I described for tonight. And electronica. So, yeah, they definitely don't have one sound. I mean, it's not. A lot of bands that have been around this long haven't had just one sound, but there's some that definitely, I think, have traveled less far than these guys have traveled as far as from where they started at. So, awesome.
It was kind of in the 90s, you saw some of that transformation in style when Adore came out. People fucking hated Adore when it came out. And then when Machina came out, Billy Corgan made this whole deal about, we're just going back to rock, man. We're just going back to rock. So it's interesting, to hear that I like their electronic stuff now.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know if I have anything else on the intro here. I did put as my background tonight, Billy Corgan with the National Wrestling Alliance logo, which I think I've joked about on the podcast before, but still weird to me that the lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins somehow has purchased and owns like the world's oldest wrestling organization at like 125 years old or something crazy like that.
This makes him as accomplished as Insane Clown Posse.
Less Fago, but yes. Yeah, it's kind of funny. So he's also, that's the weird thing. Like he's doing all this revival stuff with the Pumpkins while also simultaneously like scripting and writing a like weekly TV show of wrestling, which is just weird. But he's apparently a huge wrestling fan. So he just, I still don't. I'd love to read the story. I haven't yet. It's just weird that like he of all people had the rights to buy, what was the biggest wrestling thing in America for many, many years, and. I don't know how exactly that came to be, but I should find that story and read it sometime. So, all right, sweet. Well, let's jump into this because this is the part the audience is really waiting for, where we talk about things that they can't see and tell them about songs that they haven't listened to before. So this is our top 10 list for the Smashing Pumpkins, but we do have some honorable mentions here tonight before we get into those proper. How many do you have, Brett? I have just the 3.
Just 1.
You just have 1, and Dan has 12, you said?
I've cut it down to 5.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we let you kick off first then, Dan, since you have the most?
Okay. I'll try to be really quick on this.
You're fine.
Hello, Kitty Cat on Pieces Carrot.
I thought that was just a shout out. I didn't know you were saying a song title. I'm sorry.
I just want to say hello to Kitty.
You know who you are.
Yeah. Pieces of Carrot is not great. I think it's actually like B-sides they threw together in an album, but there's some fun ones on there, and I think it's worth picking up. And Hello Kitty Cat's pretty good. Bodies on Melancholy. Holy shit, what a song. Yeah. We Only Come Out at Night on Melancholy. As Melancholy can be an emotional romp through a lot of stuff. And there's just something about that transition of the song right before it, I think, is XYU, which is violent, both in lyrics and sound. And then they come back with We Only Come Out at Night. And the lyrics of that song are something else. I actually liked Adore, I think, more than some people. So I put Pug as number 4. I really like that song. Now here's the really wild one. Destination Unknown, which I believe is a cover from Aeroplane Flies High. So Aeroplane Flies High was their box set of their singles that came out with Melancholy. And so I think it's like 5 songs, or 6 songs, one on each disc. And then it was all B-sides or just covers and stuff. Destination Unknown is like this weird synth cover. Check it out. And it is, I found out today, it is on Spotify.
Okay. This is a cover of the band Missing Persons, which apparently is a band I learned today. So there's that also.
Educational we are.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, was that 5? That was quick.
That
Okay,
was
wow.
5. Yeah, I just want to plow through when I made this list, I just went through and I just I like this one. I like this one. I like this one.
Well, I confess I didn't listen to that album, but
it's for the purist.
Well, you did bring up a good point, though, which is I mentioned they have 12 or 13 studio albums, but they also have a ton of content that is not the studio albums.
Just a ton. Pieces of
and
yeah.
They also do what I hate when bands do, but everyone is guilty of it. Well, they'll re-release the album with one extra song, and they have 4 versions of each album with this has 1 song, this one has 4 bonus songs, this one has 7 bonus songs, and this I guess they're trying to get extra people to buy it. I don't really know, but it's and it's an annoyance of mine to have bands re-release things over and over with different track listings, because then it gets confusing when I go to look for the album. I'm like, what's on this album? And then I have to find out which version of that album I'm talking about before I can do that. So, okay, I'll go next, I guess, since I have 3, and we'll let Brett do his 1 last year then. So my 3, and I will say, I was joking that since I've just been nonstop listening to this band, there's been songs that have been falling off of my top 10. They've come back to my top 10. There's new songs that have jumped back into the top 10. After I had already kicked them out and took them off my Spotify playlist, and then they'd come back and be like, I'm going to make it back in the top 10. And my honorable mentions, I think I had 5 earlier today. I only have 3 left on here, so I'm not sure what I took off, but I'm pretty sure Bodies was one of the ones I took off. So not one of the 3 I have on here, but that's a really good song too. I do like that one. So my 3 honorable mentions in no particular order are Zero from Melancholy and Infinite Sadness, which just basically is a really heavy, hard-hitting song, which I just enjoy quite a bit. Completely the same sound, Disarm from Siamese Dream. Just is really a dark song, really menacing, but really simple. And I just like that line, disarm you with a smile, and just how much that says without being really, that over the top with it. And then kind of a bit of a dark horse here, I guess. My 3rd one is Violet Rays off Oceania. And the beginning of this song is amazing. If you listen to the intro on this song, you just get into the song. And this is another one that I put on my notes. I had taken off this list several times, and it just kept coming back in. So it had to get a spot in the honorable mentions. Violet Rays on Oceania. So, all right, Brett, what do you got for yours?
The one that I wanted to give a shout out to and this is something we've talked about this before on previous lists before, is whether or not covers are fair game or not. And song I really love that they did was Landslide.
I knew it.
You guys might have that on your top 10. I don't know, but I honestly I would put this in the top 10, except for the fact that it's not their song, so I bumped it down to 11. But it's interesting because it's his vocals in particular. If you just first thought, well, would he sound good on this song? Be like, no, but it does sound really good. I really enjoyed the vocals on this, and it's just an amazing song in general. So the fact that they do it well, it's just naturally just a great song for all.
I have to give you credit for picking that one. When I first heard Pisces Iscariot, someone's going to call in and just say, Dan doesn't know how to pronounce any fucking words, and I'm sorry about that. It's true, I don't. Pisces Iscariot. I get to Landslide. I don't realize it's a cover. I'm like, why does this sound so much different? And why does Billy Corgan trying to sound like a fancy goat. And then I heard the real song sung by an actual goat. And I'm like, oh my God, Smashing Pumpkins killed this song. It's way better when they do it.
Oh man,
But yeah, no, that's good pick. Oh, coming out strong.
If my wife listened to our podcast, which she doesn't, that would probably be her line of the night because she is not a Stevie Nicks fan in any way, shape, or form. So that's which I was thinking too when you said it, Brett. I was like, that does seem like a song you wouldn't expect like his voice to cover, but it's like one of those classic iconic songs, but also like some people really do have a problem with like Stevie Nicks' voice to begin with, where they both have a tendency to like semi-slur their words together. And, I think Stevie did hers, more because she was drunk all the time. But Billy, Billy just can take 2 or 3 words and make them one word. I don't know how he does it. The last couple listens through I did on my list, I tried to do with the lyrics on the screen, and I was like, motherfucker, I never knew what he was saying there. It's 3 words. That's why I didn't know what he was saying. It's 3 words, not 1. Huh,
so I have to ask, did any of you own, you must have owned the actual Melancholy?
Yeah.
And the
on
book
cassette.
that came with it. On cassette. Fuck.
Double thick cassette.
No kidding. God,
oh, yeah.
That's a brick.
I wonder if that's in the basement. I probably got rid of it a long time ago.
But they had the liner notes with the lyrics. They had a different little symbol sketch for every song.
Oh,
and that was good liner art there. But sorry,
you could picture like the cassette shape still, and like how they had the lyrics inside. So picture how big the book was inside a cassette. So when I opened it up, it was like for a double album, it was like 62 page lyrics. Whoa.
Shit, what song am I on?
Yeah, it was a little bit of that actually. Okay, well, let's jump into the top 10. The big show here, everyone. And I think even though we just did that order, we should probably switch this up here. We'll let the guest of honor here be the final go around on these tonight. So we'll start off with Brett and I can go first, Brett, so we can keep. Are you doing a tabby?
Yeah, I've got one going.
I'm just going to pretend I meant to call that a tabby, and not that I'm going through midlife senility here. And
or you really like cats now?
Let's see. I do really like cats. That's true.
Doing a tabby.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm going to kick off my list here with number 10. This is off Atum, a rock opera, and the song is called "That Which Animates the Spirit." This is one that has an interesting. I picked up today when I was listening to this one last time. The first 5 to 7 seconds, I would say. I didn't actually time it, but it almost sounds like they're starting a country song. And you're like, what's going on here? And then suddenly it just fucking rocks. It just comes in full swing. It's not a lyrically complex song, but it is just a kick-ass song. And there's a featured guitar solo in it, which you don't get with a lot of the Pumpkin songs either, which it's not a long one, but I do enjoy that they have them in some of the songs. This one also, you could tell, kind of does sound like it's part of a larger work, or maybe in my brain it just worked that way with the 3-album rock opera, but it's just really, really cool. And they have a line that you say glory, glory, hallelujah, over and over, like you would if you were in church, but used for different effect here, I believe. Now, I also saw this at the last 11th hour here today, but apparently this is I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but this is a follow-up song to the song Zero, which I just mentioned on my honorable mentions. But there's this whole subculture thing with the Pumpkins I didn't even know about until today, where Corgan calls himself Zero essentially, and he has the shirt on always, but there's this thread through the songs of Zero's journey, and this is when he comes back to life with this song, and that's when the people are shouting glory, glory, hallelujah, but it's he's come back to life now and he's this new spiritual figure. I don't know enough about that whole plot line to go into that, but I know this song kicks ass and you should listen to it.
Interesting. That gets really deep there.
Yes. Stumbled on that and was like, wait, what now? Yeah, okay. Brett, why don't you go next then?
Okay. Sure. At my number 10, I have the song Ava Adore, which you kind of touched on earlier. That's that album kind of has a different just kind of vibe to it. It's kind of like, yeah, like say like darker. It has kind of like some funky sounds to it. Not like weird funky, like actual funk music sound. It's kind of like I just wrote this earlier. I was just like, it's kind of like back alley music in some
That's
way.
what I'm saying. That album's like slutty or something. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like purposely dirty.
Do you ever get the feeling that a lot of the songs in that era, especially on Adore, are written for a girl he's dating but doesn't actually like?
I mean, that would fit, I guess.
Like the rebound girl you can't quit. Like if you look at the lyrics of Adore or even Perfect, it gets a little dark.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Let's go back and check that out. But this song, it's just kind of it's probably one of the more catchy songs on the album. And it's one that I certainly have heard more than others. I know my wife really loves this one as well. It's kind of like just her style of music that's really kind of fits into the thing there. So, so Ava Dore at number 10.
Okay.
Solid choices. Okay, so for my number 10, this is the only song I listed on here from Machina, which is Raindrops and Sun Showers, which really stands out on that album. It comes in like the opening riff is the opening song on there is Everlasting Gaze. They have songs like Heavy Metal Machine. It's like a lot of hard rock on there. Raindrops and Sun Showers was just like this like thick, almost milky synth driving like techno, like almost like EDM. And I don't know, I really like that song. I just like it's so different. I love that they weren't afraid to explore different sounds. Even after I think Adore, people were a bit over Adore, which they shouldn't have. So give that one another chance sometime. I have a lot of weird ones on my list. I'm just going to warn you guys now. But Raindrops and Sun Showers, and then the idea of the song, of the lyrics of rain falling everyone and just trying to walk between the raindrops to be with somebody. It was interesting. I love that song. It's cool.
I'm making a little side list here, ones you guys picked just to go back.
I already started that with what you suggested.
What were your other honorables, Dan, you had? I'm going to go back over the honorables again here. Sorry.
I'm looking at Pieces Iscariot, and I'm going to switch Hello Kitty Cat with Blue. I can't even do this. Like, I'm just terrible. Blue on Pisces Iscariot. Bodies, which you've already mentioned.
Yeah.
We Only Come Out at Night. And that's one where you watch the lyrics. Oh God. The last bit of that song. And then Pug, another one on Adore. It's this the lyrics are a juxtaposition between like the song is hard and heavy and it's like unhealthy relationship lyrics, and then it switches themes and the lyrics are inside where it's warm, wrap myself in you, and just that juxtaposition there. And then Destination Unknown on Aeroplane Flies High. It's really different. It's a B-side, but check it out.
Okay, my number 9 song is surprisingly off the same album, Atom. It's my last song off of the rock opera, though. This is Beguiled. And this is, again, not really a lyrically deep song, or really even a lyrically varied song, if that's a different category, but I feel like it is. But it has a really infectious bass line, which doesn't, again, always highlight for me when I listen to all of their songs. But this one, I really noticed it. Like, the bass was kind of used to, like, keep the pace in the song. And then every once in a while, like, the guitar would come in with almost like a metronome timed, like, piece that it was adding to it. But it was just like these little wah-wah lines, and it kind of really worked with how the song was set up. And this is another one that's like fairly rocky. Both of these two, 9 and 10, were like off the list, on the list, and they kind of snuck back on at the end. And I think I mentioned in our group chat we keep too, but I have not yet listened to Atom straight through, which I'm sure is how it's supposed to be presented. But I listen to it in the random shuffle in Spotify. I do want to listen to the whole thing as an experience sometime here, though. So that's my number 9, Beguiled.
All right. Number 9, I got a song off of Gish titled Rhinoceros. which from that first album, which is pretty heavily like grunge sounding. It's that's the early '90s rock. It's definitely it's probably like the softest song on that album. It certainly is like a really kind of interesting and like this beautiful sound to it. And the lyrics have almost like this hypnotic kind of melody in the verses part. And that's also the song that says she knows hoes. So which I don't think is actually the lyric, but it sounds like she knows hoes, and I just kind of like that.
I know exactly what you're talking about with that song. This is like back in the 90s. You can't just pull lyrics out of your ass. You're Googling, getting these like chat room text of all these people trying to guess what the lyrics are. And that one, it's like you never knew.
So that's like on that one.
It's up to me now, isn't it?
Yep, number 9.
This is easy. This is easy. Muzzle from Melancholy. I don't know if I have to say a whole lot about Muzzle. It was one of their more popular ones on the album. Not as popular as I think the big ones, Tonight, 79, all that stuff. But
I don't even know what song this is. Just makes you feel better.
You don't know? Oh, okay. Oh, Muzzle is very good. It's one of those ones. The second you hit play, you're gonna be like, "Oh yeah."
And I even had a double cassette of this one. So
imagine you rewinding. Hold on, what one was it? Yeah. But it just just a good song. Gosh, it was one of those ones I felt deserved more credit for everything that was on Melancholy. It would hit the radio every once in a while, but not as much as the other ones. I love the way that one, it rose in a very like triumphant, hopeful manner, which is something you don't usually get with especially the 90s era and the Melancholy era Smashing Pumpkins. Check that one out again. Oh, pull that one out. Yo, it's good. It's also, for those of you playing at home, right before the song that comes on right before one of my other very top songs.
Oh, okay. Little hinty hint there. All right, number 8 for me. We're moving on to a new album over here, and that new album is Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. Now, interestingly, I did a highly scientific poll where I asked 3 people in person what their favorite Smashing Pumpkins song was. I was, first of all, surprised that all 3 picked the exact same song.
Oh, it is.
Secondly, I was more surprised that it is Matt Hudson's favorite song by them, which is 1979. This one I had more towards the top of the list, actually, when I started going through and listening to all the stuff, and then it just kind of kept dropping in a little bit more here and there and here and there. But here's some things I like about this one. So the background song, the background sound of this one, if you will, if you think about how this one goes in your head, is like there's music there, but it's almost like this little quiet chanting that's like actually like the background beat rhythm, it's like it's like Corgan's like kind of whisper chanting in the background that just makes you kind of fall into this one. I think this one is also like I know, Brett, you, for a lot of our more recent music pods, like try to make an effort to go out and watch what their music videos are trying to like show us some of these songs. And I generally don't do that. And I think the ones that I have memories of usually score a little higher for me just because I remember like when I did watch music videos. This one had kind of like that cool music video of them in the car and like just other things of that. But what else do I have on this one? Just like a rolling drum beat that kind of paces the song as this one goes through as well. And this is just kind of like, it has to be about just teenagers doing teenagery things and just having this like memory. I mean, we could write a song called 1999, right? That would kind of have like similar effect of like that year and good times and things of that nature. So what I'm getting at here is Hudson's old. But beyond that, this is a good song everyone's heard. 1979, my number 8.
Why is this one called 1979? I'm digging through Wikipedia as fast as possible to figure this out, but Corgan's not that. Okay,
it's a good question.
He would have been like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, he would have been pretty young. I think.
Really an impressionable year on him. So
apparently, Hanging out with his
Maybe
friends, driving, smoking.
I don't know. Actually, it's a good question. I wonder if it's like significance of it being like the year before the '80s started, but I don't know what. I don't know. I don't have a place I'm going with that. I'm just wondering if that's something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to find this
era
now.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got at number 8, a different numbered song, 0.
Uh-huh.
Just as a side note, they have a lot of numbered songs, like songs that are the title is a number.
Sure.
So 0, this again off of Melancholy and Infinite Sadness. I really enjoy the music on this song. Just it's a very heavy song. Danny already mentioned this, I believe. But it I just really enjoy the music quite a bit. It's like has a it's like a rhythmic quality to it, and almost like an echoey kind of sound to it as well. But where the suffers in this song is that the chorus is like really like kind of whiny vocals.
Yeah.
It's like that sound that he has that like it's that like tipping point for me where it's like goes from being kind of cool to like I'm not sure if I'm enjoying this so much. Which is unfortunate, but like this, I think this song could be a lot higher up for me if it didn't have that factor to it. But number 8, I got 0.
That's a good choice. That's a solid. You guys got solid choices here. This is fun, but I'm gonna ruin everything with this choice. This one's a deep cut. The Smashing Pumpkin cover of the song of the country classic Jackie Blue.
Ooh, okay. I'm not familiar with this one.
Nope.
Okay. In high school, I am really into Smashing Pumpkins, and there was like this Web 1.0 website, and somebody had the recording of them covering Jackie Blue. And I had the MP3 for a hot minute in my hand. I'm like, Jesus, this is really good. I spent the next 2 years of my life trying to find it again. And it wasn't till like balls deep into the Napster era I was able to find the recording. Now, you young pieces of shit can just find it on Spotify. It's there. I don't know. Listen to the original Jackie Blue song. It's like this old country song. I don't know if you'll like it. The Smashing Pumpkin version, I really like. It snuck into my top 10. It's different. It's weird. I love it. That's all I got to say about that.
The Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
Yep. And that was the last time Dan was invited on the show.
No, I feel like maybe I don't. I feel like I thought I knew what that song was by the title. Maybe I don't, though. Maybe I do. I don't know. Oh, that's me again. Back to me. Number 7, we are moving to another new album over here, which is Siamese Dream. And we are checking out the famously incorrectly spelled mayonnaise here at number 7 for me. This is like these early quiet songs by the Pumpkins, I will say. I must have heard all these at one point, a little bit here and there, but I just don't think I really ever listened enough to them prior to like stuff with Melancholy. This one's really fun. It comes off as like almost like you're in a trance or like a dream as you're listening to this. It does rock, but yet at the same time, it's like a very quiet rock that it's doing at the same time. Definitely like a struggle lyrically, not that he's struggling lyrically, although you could argue maybe he is struggling lyrically, but this is a lyric about struggles is what I'm getting at here. And I don't know if this is necessarily suicide or image or if all the above or none of the above. I'm not positive, but I do really like the sound on this one. This is Mayonnaise at number 7.
All right.
That's a good pick.
What did I have? 7 for me is Cherub Rock, which comes off of Siamese Dream as well, or Siamese Dream. And what I was interested about this one is I probably had heard it beforehand, but I didn't really remember it a lot. I don't think, but it was on one of the Guitar Hero games. I think Guitar Hero 3.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, Smashing Pumpkins. What is this song? And it was awesome. I love playing that song on Guitar Hero. It was just like really fun, and I just like you could really get into the music. And yeah, it was kind of like an eye-opening kind of thing. Like I hadn't heard this song, didn't remember hearing it before, and then really enjoyed it. So, and it still sticks with me as a song that I really enjoy. So I stuck it in here, number 7, Cherub Rock.
Nice.
True story. I once tried to play that on the first time I ever played Guitar Hero. And before the song started, I was just going like this on the guitar, not realizing that counted. So before the song started, I got booted out the game.
Nice.
Okay. I think this marks the last one for me where I was like, boy, I think like in the 7, 8, 9, 10, I have a stack that could fit in here. But I really like Gish. Gish was like one, I didn't start listening to Gish until like after I heard everything, including Adore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I went back and I'm like, oh, some of this is really good. But the one from Gish that I picked is Snail. Which Snail's really cool. It starts off really slow and quiet. They build up to this rock beat. It's another one with really weird lyrics. The chorus, when you wake up, you're all weak. And that's one, until you had the lyrics in front of you, you didn't know what the fuck they were saying. And so for the longest time, we thought, when you wake up, you're awake. And we're like, that's a deep cut there, Corgan. But then they get the chorus twice, and then it drops into a completely different beat with doom, 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 doom. And then the wrapping the song up with these long flowing lyrics. It's really cool. Snail's a great song. Yeah.
All right. I don't even know what that one is. I mean, I listened to all these. I'm going to have to go back and check all these out again. You guys are mentioning this.
Seeing you pull out Mayonnaise, I'm like, oh, hells yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, my number 6. So, Dan, you have Spotify, it sounds like, too. And I mentioned that the ease of doing these style of podcasts has really changed now, because I used to have to go through and like listen. And I would use Spotify for a lot of these music episodes we do, but I only semi-recently in the last year thought about just making a playlist. And so what I've been doing now is like for the Pumpkins, I put all of their albums into this playlist, right? So you just get like this big vat of like 200 songs, and then I listen to it and I'm like, keep it, throw it out, keep it, throw it out, keep it. And I do that for a lot of these ones we do now. This was the first one that I took off the list, and then I just kept singing it, and it made its way back into the playlist. And then it even climbed up to number 6 on my list here. So this is off of Gish as well. And this is I Am One, which is just a really more garage sounding, I think, track than, the stuff I was used to with the more maturely produced stuff of like Melancholy onward. But this is like, just got this little earworm that you kind of gets you with, and you just keep kind of like thinking about it. It's just like kind of a light, like I said, almost like you can picture them in their garage, like just practicing like the parts to the song, being like, this worked, this didn't work, let's change this part, until they came up with like finding what actually works to make this song complete. Again, it's a bit repetitive with lyrics, but just a really fun song with this one. I Am One off Gish.
All right, nice. Okay, number 6 for me is coming in off of, I didn't write that down. What's that on? That's off of Siamese Dream, I believe. No, today it is on
yes, that's on Siamese Dream.
Yes,
yeah,
Siamese Dream.
That's a great song.
So today, what's interesting I found out about the song is like, I think it's one that if you don't really pay attention, you wouldn't catch this. And going through and like watching the lyrics as I was listening to these songs, especially the ones that I was, planning for my top 10. There's a lot of like really dark lines in there, and it's like I would say, I mean, it's probably like for some people it's not secretly, but for me it's like secretly about suicide, I believe. Um, and which is interesting because it's so contrasting to the tone of the music. You know, the
Yeah.
music itself is not upbeat necessarily, but for a 90s rock song, it's, you know, kind of bouncy, whatever. And then, you know, the main lyric, you know, today is the greatest day I've ever known. Um, I if you really listen and pick out some of those lines, it's really kind of makes it feel a lot darker because it's like you're imagining that most of the other days in this person's life are like just shit.
Yep.
And he has like this one good day and it's like the best day of his life. Um, and it does give it more weight for me having, you know, heard and understanding that now. But just in general, it's a really fun song to listen to. Just the sound is really good. Enjoy it quite a bit. So here it is. Number 6 is Today.
I have to say, I'm really like listening to you all and talk about these songs is so much fun for me. Today, Brett, as you're saying that, I look it up and I never fucking realized this. Sure enough, Billy Corgan was like in deep suicidal depression when he wrote that, and actually was writing that song that was his breaking out of a. I looked this up as I'm not actually this knowledgeable. That got him. This is yeah, and then Cody, your description of "I Am One," which this really good song. This is the perfect description of it as being like you could hear the garage, which is that's cool. Okay, so now we're getting into like my top 6, and I think a lot of these have an emotional component for me. Jelly Belly, the third song off of Melancholy and Infinite Sadness. And I have to admit, this is the third song on that. It opens up, you put in the disc. They have the Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness song, this little piano intro. And then Tonight, setting up this grand tone. Everybody remembers the music video.
Mm-hmm.
And then it drops into Jelly Belly. And if you don't know Jelly Belly, it's this immediately overpowering guitar riff. Diddle 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 diddle, and then glissandos up and down the neck of the guitar and all this shit. I heard that song first time. I'm like, welp, won't be listening to this bit of the album. And then like, no, that song just caught me. And it's got to be one of my favorites on Melancholy overall. And just the two things that stand out about that song that surprise me every time is for something that comes off when you hear it, you're just like, holy shit, Smashing Pumpkins is rocking hard. But the way in the back half of the song, and during the chorus, the way Iha's guitar, it was something they could do so well. You could hear the multiple guitars on so many Smashing Pumpkins albums. But Iha's guitar just playing and matching the notes of the Corgan wail and having those two match so well. And then the way that song ends, the lyrics are to make yourself feel better. Oh shit. Of course, now I say it, I can't remember it. To make yourself feel better, you'll make it so you'll never give in to your forevers. And it's just iteration rhyme, and like you think about those words, you're like, oh God. You know, great song, hard rocking song, Jelly Belly. Oof.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll be honest, there's a lot on Melancholy that I probably don't need to hear again. But there's a lot on there that's really good too. Like, you know, it's almost like it's a double album, but I don't need one of those albums. But put everything else on the other album and I'll be like, this is a damn good album, right?
For me, there was so much of it too. Like a lot of their songs are depressing as hell. And Brett talking about Today just reminded me, it's like, you know, one of the reasons I stopped after Machina is, you know, I didn't want to be sad on a lot of their music. Yeah.
All right, let's see. My number 5, we're at the second half here. My number 5 is my 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth different album of the last 5 picks. And this is off of Shining Oh So Bright Volume 1, which PS subnote. I hate when bands do this when they call something Volume 1 and then don't produce a Volume 2. That drives me nuts.
I spent an hour today trying to find.
They're far from the only people that do this, but it drives me nuts. Like, make sure if you're going to do that, your next album better be called Volume 2. So I don't need you to come back on a possible reunion tour 30 years later and be like, you know what, we're making Volume 2. No. Unless, I don't know, maybe he's just trying to make some kind of commentary here. But anyway, my number 5 is Silvery Sometimes, parentheses, Ghosts. This is one of the ones I think I did hear on the radio down here, which probably makes bit of sense because we moved down here in 2015, and makes sense why their newer stuff would still be played on some of the radio stations around here, I guess, now knowing that they're a Chicago band. So even if they weren't as, mainstream popular, they were probably getting some airplay around here. So 2 things about this one. First of all, I read online somewhere today or yesterday that this song is musically arranged and sounds similar to 1979, except peppier, which I agree with that assessment when I listened to it again after I read that. It really does kind of have like that same like running rhythm to it, and it's not necessarily talking about like the things we did as teenagers. This one has a very heavy emphasis on the phrase "we're in the middle," and I don't know if that is supposed to reference the middle of life or if that's supposed to be like torn between 2 places. With how old they were when they made this, I guess it could be either one. But I really like that line. And the second thing about this, and this is funny because I mentioned earlier, Brett, about music videos. I was pulling up some lyrics on this one, and each I don't know which website I was on, but one had like a couple facts about each of the songs, and this one happened to pull up that there was a music video for it, which normally I'm like, okay, I don't care about the music video these days, but it said the music video had a cameo by Mark McGrath of Sugar Ray, and I was like, well, that's kind of weird. Like, I guess they were kind of contemporaries, but what a weird person to throw in your music video. And then I read what the premise of the music video was, and I was like, well, I gotta fucking watch this now. So if you haven't seen this, the premise is Mark McGrath is like a local, like, I don't know, Z109 or some made up bullshit radio station host, and he's on site with the Pumpkins, who are dressed with like a little bit of makeup on and stuff around their faces, and there's all these fans wearing Zero shirts, and they are challenging the Pumpkins to stay a night in a haunted house, and if they can make it through the night, they will donate $25,000 to the charity of their choice. And so McGrath is like way over the top cheesy in this intro part, which is just great. And they're playing like the musical intro to this as it gets going. And then they're in like the house, and it's just like one little tiny like scare for each of the members of the band, which none of which are really scary. It's just kind of played for laughs more or less. But then we find out that, of course, Corgan was like in on the whole thing, like he was trying to set up the band to scare them. And then we find out, maybe perhaps at least implied at the end, that Mark McGrath might really be like a ghost or a demon or something at the end of all of this. I can't remember now, but the ending line of the music video is actually Mark McGrath saying a line from a Sugar Ray song. I can't think of which one it is now, like I Just Want to Fly or something like that. I don't know if it's that one, but I was like, that's a really weird way for one band to end their music video, is like somebody from a different band saying a line from their song instead. But it's total cheese. I enjoyed the video, I will say, but I really like the song. This is Silvery Sometimes, Ghosts, off Shining Oh So Bright Volume 1, and there's more to the title to that album, but I'm not going to get into all that stuff. So it's not quite...
I listened to this album, and I was trying to guess what ones you'd pick, and so far this is no dice.
Oh.
I have suspicions.
To number 5, which honestly I've been like looking at this list and thinking, hey, I could bump this song up, but I already had my song, my list made. I'm just gonna leave it where it is.
Ooh.
I do really love this song. It is 33 of Melancholy and Infant Sadness, which is, as I say, another numbered song.
Yeah.
I really love the music in the song. It's just very soft and beautiful. It's a love song, though it like the lyrics are a bit abstract. Like if you don't pay attention, I don't know that you would say, "Oh, that's about a woman that I love." It is kind of like mixed in there a bit. But I mean, overall, I just really enjoy the sound. It's feels to me like it's like really underrated. Like you have to like dig for it. like Spotify, just for example, like it is nowhere near their top 10 in Spotify for some reason. But yeah, I just really love this one. I definitely, like I say, consider putting it higher, but the ones I do have above it, I just enjoyed just a bit more. So
Brett, I have to ask, did you ever? I love that song. Like, solid choice. High five. That song for me, I would always listen to the CD front to back because I'm that kind of person. That one was always right after Bodies. And if you're not familiar with Bodies, the lyrics are "Love is suicide." And then you pop right into 33 and you're like, Corgan, I got to question you on this one.
nice.
Okay, my number 5, which is a song I very, very much love, is Rocket on Siamese Dream. About halfway through. The song right before it is Hummer, which is like 7 minutes long. And after it, I think it's kind of like Mayonnaise and Space Boy and those songs in there. And rock, or no, it's right before, it's right after Hummer and right before Disarm. Two very heavy, heavy songs. And when you hear it, it's just like a damn good rock song. And you listen to the lyrics and you get Smashing Pumpkins like you normally do. It's the it doesn't have a repeated chorus, but it builds to the line, "Soon I'll find myself alone, to relax and fade away." Yeah. So it's a song you hear it, you're like, this is great, this is a rock song, and you're driving down the road listening to it, and this is way heavier than it needs to be. And I felt like it was always kind of tucked in the album in between some big hitters. Disarm, of course, which was very popular, and Hummer, which was way too long to ever make it on the radio, but was an excellent song in and of its own right. It's one I really love. Yeah.
Yes, it's great. You guys got me almost a whole nother playlist here again. So this is great. Listening to these ones that I missed something on the first time through, but anxious to go back and listen to them again. So, okay, my number 4, we're getting up near to the top. This one, I kind of just assumed this was going to be like at least top 3 on my list, and it didn't. It made it a number 4, which is still pretty high, don't get me wrong, but I just really thought this would be higher because to me this is like one of the iconic songs of theirs, and this is off Melancholy. Again, we'll go back to that one, and this is Bullet with Butterfly Wings, which is just so good. I definitely have to credit this as like the song that got me into the Smashing Pumpkins. It was, if I recall, I think it had like a black and white music video even. Is that correct? Like, does anybody remember that? I feel like it was like, if it wasn't, it was very muted, I remember.
Right
It
off
was,
the top of my head, I don't remember.
it was just like this song that just rocked, and it was like oh man, like I can't imagine necessarily being like an original Smashing Pumpkins fan and like having listened to perhaps Gish and then Siamese Dream, both of which do, get a little rockier at times, but then they like just fucking drop this atom bomb on you with Bullet with Butterfly Wings, and you're like, holy shit. And like, to me, on my perspective, I hadn't heard a lot of that stuff. I don't think I had heard any of that stuff prior to this. So to me, like, this was what the Smashing Pumpkins were. And then I like find out they have this whole soft side to them where I'm like, oh, like this is, and there's some soft stuff on Melancholy too, obviously. But I don't know if this song is about being an angsty teenager. I don't know if this song is about being mad at God. I don't know if this is just generally about questioning society and how you fit in. But I just put on here that whatever it is about, I hope that the rat never gets out of the cage because it's just really good. Apparently, when he was interviewed for this one as to why they chose this as the first single off of Melancholy. It's, I guess, written somewhere officially, but sounds like an urban legend. Corgan responded to the reporter that the song had, quote, pulled well with Kmart shoppers between the 30 and 40-year-old age bracket. So that is my number 4, Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
Next level trivia, man. I love it.
It's good stuff.
All right, number 4. I've got coming in off of Melancholy again is Tonight Tonight. Which, you know, I've explained before on these that like I really love when you can mix like symphonic backing along with a rock metal sound. It just, for me, it feels like it fits so well a lot of the time. And this song does it just really beautifully. And was really awesome. I really kind of credit Billy Corgan his vocal styling on this. Is like the entire song is carried by a single word sung twice in a row. Like, you know, like that's the bit of the song that for me at least is like the big catchy bit, and it's just a single word sung twice. And he's just able to change the way it's being delivered, you know, just slightly, and carrying those notes. It's pretty impressive. And also just like that was one of those videos like in the mid-90s. You're watching that video and like, what in the hell am I watching? And there was lots of videos like that, but this definitely was one of those, you know, for those of you who don't remember it, it was the one where it essentially looks like a 19-teens silent film kind of thing going on here. And the whole thing of the moon, and then like the rocket gets, you know, it lands on the moon. Just wild stuff. So
when that video came out, my dad's house, he had cable, and with that video, so he would turn on MTV and complain, right? It's like a middle-aged white dude's job back then, right? That video came on, he would watch it start to finish without saying a word. Yeah. Okay. I got at least 2 more weird ones, and this is my number 4 is off Adore, and it is apples and oranges, at both words misspelled. I'll give you the musical reason and the stupid sincere reason. This song slaps different. First, Adore was so experimental. Coming off of Melancholy, they made, you know, they lost the drummer Chamberlain. They couldn't deal with his addictions anymore. They dropped him. They came in, as you both have described, with this dark album, much more synth bits to it. And Apples and Oranges has this like strange synth beat, and the whole song is questions. What if the sun refused to shine? What if the seas refused to grow? What if to the chorus? What if what is isn't true? What are you going to do? And it has this nice driving beat. It's really cool. Love the song itself. And it much later in my life, without getting too personal, I had this moment like halfway through grad school, this crisis of faith, this crisis of personality. And I remember like coming out of that other end, that listening to this song again, like kind of reopening myself up to Smashing Pumpkins after kind of being like, I don't want to be sad anymore. With this song, just kind of this, you know, willingness to question things. What if what is isn't true? What are you going to do? Always kind of hit me right in the old feels. Gosh. So that's my number 4. A weird pick, but I like it. I have a lot of weird picks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you pre-warned me of that. You do have a lot of deep cuts on here. Wow.
I think Jackie Blue was
I gotta go back and re-listen to these again now, man. You guys Got some good stuff
Oh,
here.
I've been every one of these you guys are listing. If they're not like, oh yeah, I'm like, oh yeah.
Okay, my number 3. So I mentioned already, but I got into the Shining Oh So Bright album because of a couple songs that were played down here, and primarily they were Silvery Sometimes Ghosts and then Solera. And Solera is just this smashing, awesome rocking tune, which I kind of assumed would be on my top 10 somewhere in putting this together. And I actually took it off the list at one point, and then I brought it back onto the playlist, and it in the end didn't end up making it on my playlist tonight or the honorable mentions, but a different song off that album did, way up here at number 3, and that is the song Travels. This is such a fucking good song. It is such a simple song. It sounds more like Billy Corgan is just reading poetry to some really quiet music in the background, but it's awesome with the way the lyrics and the lines just flow together. It's not even the music, even in this, isn't really that complex, but it's just like a moment of zen when you listen to this song from start to finish. It's just awesome. From what I gather online, the like really hardcore Smashing Pumpkins fans feel as though it runs like a minute or two too long for what it is, but I think you need it about the length it is to kind of get into that mood and stay there for a little bit before you come down from the high. This is just it's a beautiful song. It's just like a lot of, like kind of like Brett mentioned, if you just look at lyrics, it's like the first 8 lines just start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. He says the word C 15 times in the first 8 lines. And keep in mind, the first 8 lines are only 4 words each. So it's 15 out of 32 words are the word C. Where he just kind of goes back and forth. He's like, see love, see time, see death, see life, see tears, see bright, day, night. And he just keeps going on and on and on with this one. And it's really a song, I think maybe more than anyone on my list, that I just really got into and really, really appreciate. And I really, really like this one. So this is called Travels. And it's my last song on Shiny and Oh So Bright Volume 1.
Nice.
I am so disappointed that I wasn't able to guess. I had other guesses for the ones I thought you were going
Okay.
Sorry, Brett.
As for me, I am sticking with melancholy here for a little bit, with the song 1979, which I think, yeah, as Cody kind of mentioned before too, like it's definitely the most listened to song on Spotify at the very least.
Oh, it is, eh?
Yeah, it seems to be the most popular, the one that I've been able to find. But yeah, it's really catchy. It's kind of like, it has like that same sound, like kind of like all the way through. It's just kind of like whereas a lot of songs like change it up here and there, it just kind of keeps going, but it's fine because it's great. It's just like it's really kind of catchy song. It just kind of pulls you along. It definitely has a really very 90s vibe, it feels like. And yeah, I would agree. You also mentioned that it like has a kind of like a sound of like teens just hanging out together, and that's the same thing I wrote out too. Was it feels like a mildly teen angst song, like not knowing what to do, just kind of hanging out, wasting time. I felt like if it was if this movie Dazed and Confused was made in the 90s or about the 90s, like this would absolutely be on the soundtrack. Like it has that same vibe as the movie does.
Yeah.
But obviously wouldn't fit into that movie because it's set in the 70s. But it just has a really nostalgic feeling for me. It's one that I just, it comes on, I just love listening to it. Yeah, it just kind of brings back that feeling of that time period for me. So number 3 for me is 1979.
Okay. Time to get weird again. This is
watermelons and pears, but they're both spelled wrong.
with a number 69. It was funny, Brett, you're talking about how many numbers appear in their titles. I'm like, oh yeah, oh shit.
Billy's just been spelling his phone number out after all these songs, all these years later.
It's actually an address to an Amazon wish list for his birthday.
It's like a treasure hunt.
That would be amazing.
He's giving us GPS coordinates. 33.
That'd be really impressive if he started in the early 90s.
This dude was into geocaching way before other people.
Number 3. Moving right along. Hummer on Siamese Dream. Okay, Siamese Dream. Here's a theme here is probably, if you held the gun to my head, is probably my favorite album from Smashing Pumpkins. It's very, very good. Not that the other ones aren't good or, it's arguably better, but Siamese Dream is the one that does it for me. Hummer's weird. Okay. You have, I gotta think of the track list even on Siamese Dream here for a second. You have Cherub Rock, you have Today, and the 4th song in is Hummer, and it's 7 minutes long, and it starts with this like weird, like Eastern sounding little guitar riff that's done quietly before it breaks out into the melody. And it takes you on a journey, right? Soft grows, comes back down, and ends with like this almost strummed electric, and that soft marching drum. That's one of the things re-listening to the old stuff and listening to some of the new stuff is how a lot of their drum beats almost feel like a military drum in the way they progress through. And this one at the end ends with that. And it's like a weird song. And when I used to listen to the album a whole lot, I'd get to this one and be like, I won't skip it. And I wound up really liking the song more than I ever thought I did. Just the different bits, the different hooks and everything I really, really enjoy. And it's a very different song lyrically, especially contrasted against Today, which we talked about earlier. If you look at the lyrics, it's about struggling with the idea of happiness, and defining yourself and your own self-worth, and deciding that you value yourself. It's a weird song. It's good. I really like it. Up there for number 3 on me. It's just this one that grew on me over a lot of time after a lot of listens through Siamese Dream.
It's another one I don't know by the title, so I'll have to go back and double check it.
It's different.
It's good stuff. I heard it was too long for the radio, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's such a good song. Would never make a radio play.
That's fair. Okay, my number 2. We're getting up there. We're going back to Siamese Dream for this one. Which this is an interesting one. There's not like that's a surprise pick on this one, but it's interesting to me just because if you had like asked me to name 12 Smashing Pumpkin songs before I started re-listening to all these, I would have came up with the title on this one, but it would have just been like, and I know this is also a Smashing Pumpkin song, it wouldn't have been like ooh, but just listening to it again, I was like, yeah, this is just a really solid song, bar none, which is Today, and it's already been mentioned tonight, but same thing, just really, I don't know, kind of a positive sounding song about a really crappy time in your life, if that's possible, but kind of seems like that's what this is all about. This one's interesting. I didn't really think about it till I saw this on a website earlier too, but essentially this is one of a small handful of songs, perhaps, where the chorus and the verses are switched in the song. So you come in with the chorus in this one, and they like hit you with the chorus, then you get to a verse, then they hit you with the chorus, then they hit you with verse. But the way the most songs are structured, like you get through the verse, and then like it's like chorus, and then it gets into like the beat picks up or the rhythm picks up or the tone or whatever. And this is kind of like the same thing, except it's like they give you the chorus line, and then when he gets to like just what would normally be the verse, like he does that same motion. Like then he's like, and now it's time for the verse. And you're like, wait, this is backwards. What? Right? Off to the side. But yeah, it's just a really solid song. I would have never guessed it would be anywhere near number 2 on my list for this, but that is where it ended up. I just couldn't deny how clean and good it sounded. So Today.
All right, number 2. I am also on Siamese Dream for this one, and this is the song "Disarm." which yeah, I just mentioned this a couple songs ago, but love symphonic elements in a song. You've got some violins in here. You got the bells, which bells are almost always good in songs, I feel like, but in this particular song, they feel like they're used so damn well. Like I'll hear that and I'll get like goosebumps sometimes. Like it's just the way they hit and just the tones that they they use for that so good. And it also, like, I don't know, I didn't go through and like study the lyrics, but the way that he sings them, just the tone of how he's singing is like really emotional. And I don't know precisely what he's singing about there, but I really enjoy it. And like this one, I definitely considered it for my number one, but the number one I did pick, it just was too strong. So here, number two for me is Disarm.
Intrigue is building. Well,
You guys are gonna be so pissed off when I say this one.
Landslide by Fleetwood Mac.
Sang by an actual goat. Okay, we'll set the stage. We're gonna set the stage with you're listening to Melancholy, Infinite Sadness, right? And you got Tonight, you got Jelly Belly, my favorite, Zero, Bullet with Butterfly Wings. By the way, I just want to like throw a shout out to the song Love, which is actually absolutely wild on that album. And then you hit Muzzle, and Muzzle builds, and the lyrics and the music are very triumphant, and it ends with this like finality of, oh, that was good. And then you have my number two, Porcelina of the Vast Oceans, which is 9 fucking minutes long.
Can I just tell you that almost made my list?
Are you serious?
Yep. I had it on the like last 20 that I was deciding from.
Oh my gosh. So like the emotional, the super like teenagery angst, emotional connection with this song was that I really started to like this song right as I was getting ready to move up to the UP at Northern. And it was at the time, my girlfriend and I made the decision to not break up through college. And, the context of that is that our 16-year-old daughter brought me ice cream halfway through this. So I kind of like this is a very romantic song. It's the extremely poetic lyrics. On a distant shoreline, she waves her arms to me as all the thought police are closing in for sleep. It takes 9 minutes to get where it's going to, and it doesn't waste a damn second of it. Getting to the very, very end, it builds to the you make it right. It's all right. Oh, hard song to listen to. A lot wrapped up into it for me. But that's a big one for me. And I couldn't I'm looking at all the songs I like, and I'm like, I can't put this one any lower than 2. So, yeah, love that song, Porcelina of the Vast Oceans. One of those ones, honestly, had you not said that, Cody, I'm sure most people would have been like, yeah, that's one that doesn't need to be on the whole 2-disc album of Melancholy, but I love it. I'm glad it's there.
Yeah, that was a good one. I was just trying to think. That was really close. And I had another song here, which I guess is off Gish, but I thought was off one of the later ones. Tristessa, I really liked that one too. That almost also made my top.
Amazing song.
Again, didn't quite make it, but
surprisingly good album.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we're at number 1. And if you're asking yourself, what do a Frenchman and Rocco's Modern Life have in common? Well, that's my number 1 tonight. So we are headed to Oh boy, a really deep cut album here for this last one. This is off of it's another fruit one. Melancholy? I don't know, it's just I think
Isn't
it's
that a
like
bunch of B-sides?
it's like watermelon or something. I don't know what this is. Maybe a yellow melon. Anyway,
Didn't sell
um
many.
this is off of Melancholy, and my number one for the night here is one that I thought would definitely be near the top. Um, it was, the one of the big three I haven't mentioned yet, which is not a lot of suspense here, but my number one is going to be Tonight off of Melancholy, which I, in retrospect, thought it was funny that my number two was Today and my number one was Tonight. And I'm like, wait a second, how did that work like that? But so this is just a super fun one. Brett did a nice job already covering this one, but there's, a lot of things in here that I think he and I both appreciate. He mentioned the like big kind of orchestral sound that this one has, which is, I agree with you, Brett. I think really enhances a lot of songs if it's used correctly, and it's probably not used enough actually with music, which maybe, I don't know if that's a cost or a complexity of layering the music together or how that goes, but I was thinking about this one a little bit too last couple days, and with that like big orchestra sound, another one of my favorite songs, and we didn't do a podcast on these guys, so I don't know where it would rank, but the My Chemical Romance, Welcome to the Black Parade, is also very similar with like that big band orchestral sound to the background, and it's same thing there. It just completely enhances that song to what probably would be a good song into a great song. And I did really like your comment on like how he just says the word tonight over. I didn't really think about that, but you're absolutely right on that. That's hilarious. This one's really fun to me for a couple reasons. Number one, it's just I almost get a little bit of shivers on this one when I hear the song, and it's just like I kind of describe this one as so much of their music is like them saying that like life has shitty parts to it, or like there's these struggles you're gonna have to go through and everything. And we could get past all that. And I feel like this one, maybe unlike all of those, is just more uplifting and positive in that it's basically saying like it's taking for granted that we will overcome all those things. It's not like we could, it's that we will overcome all those things, and like you're gonna be okay when you come out on the other side. In the lyric, I'm sorry, the music video, we have like the literal couple, and this kind of like Corgan interjected saying like the believe in me, and so there's some of the overt lyrics in there I think that kind of go with struggles and things of that nature, whether it's the goofy people in the music video or in real life. But I think it just has like a stronger message, I think, with that. And then I mentioned a couple times tonight already, but the concept of like the music video on this one is just so fun. For a brief flash of my life, I did get into like some of that early motion picture type stuff, and this is just with Georges Méliès's Trip to the Moon, basically, which you already kind of described, but like with the couple, and really kind of, I wouldn't even say parody, is like more of an homage to like what that early silent film looked like. And I didn't know, so I was just reading some factoids here that the guy of the couple that was on the moon was the voice from Heifer in Rocko's Modern Life, believe it or not, and apparently later went on to do SpongeBob SquarePants as a character in that show. So just really fun, though. It's kind of a wacky video with like the little moon men creatures and stuff of what people, I guess, more or less thought could be up on the moon back at the turn of the century, and not our century that we're on at the moment here. But it's kind of fun just with the old school like props and backdrops and things of that nature. I really enjoy all of the stuff about that. Interestingly, it says the music video, I don't know if this is true or not, but this is on Wikipedia, I think. That's where I found this at. It says the music video concept actually came from the cover art for Melancholy, where somebody thought that reminded them of like some of that early silent film, like painted background type stuff, and somehow that developed into the concept for the music video. So, but that's my number one. I think it's an appropriate closer for me. I just feel like, Tonight and Bullet and 1979 were really the big three commercial hits off that album, I think. And this one probably stands out at the top for me. It seems like their biggest produced work that they had on that compared to like the grunginess of Bullet and the reminiscence of 1979. But it's going down as my number one tonight. Tonight.
Love it. Have you heard that the world is a vampire? Because it is.
Sent to drain?
Are we back on the bat plague thing again? Wasn't that COVID or what was that? I lose track of our diseases.
Number one for me, Bullet with Butterfly Wings. I've talked about this before where I feel like I fall into this trap of the songs I've heard the most tend to be my favorite songs. And it's really hard to dethrone those. Even like I listened to a lot of I didn't get through all the albums in listening to these, but I did listen to a lot. And like I said earlier on, I liked a lot of the music that I was hearing. But like none of them could come anywhere close, to getting up to where this one is. And the song comes in with that vocal line just clean with no music, and it's just like it's so iconic. And then it comes in with you get the primary sound you hear is the bass, and it's like just a really cool beat to it, that bass line. And then it's got the drums and the guitar with it too, but you primarily hear that bass. And it's just so cool. And I would say like the lyrics do seem a bit messy. Like you mentioned that too, Cody. Like what is this song about? I don't really know, like other than it very clearly a song about feeling trapped and like unable to do like what you want to, or like your voice isn't heard, like something along those lines, like you're trapped in this cage. But it also like it has a lot of lines there you're like, wait, what the hell are you talking about right now? But it's just like the song from start to finish is like pure adrenaline, and like that's really big for me. Like it really just gets me going. And the chorus, the way it screams, that is just done really well. Like a lot of times, like that extra emotion in a vocal line is so good, and it's just done perfectly in this particular song. Sometimes it doesn't work. There's a lot of times where like that anger and whatever just doesn't come across well, but in this song is just perfect. And I think just like the iconography of the title even as well is just gives it an extra. That's definitely a factor for me. As a teenager, you're like, wow, a bullet with butterfly wings, that's fucking badass.
You're right though. Yeah.
Yeah. And that just sticks with me. So, yeah, I every time the song comes on, I hear it. I just love hearing it. Like I don't know that I would ever turn this off for any reason, when it came on. So number one for me, Bullet with Butterfly Wings.
I was just wondering, do you think there's a chance that song could be about one of the literal mice in the game Mousetrap? Could that just be him singing his perspective? Like, no matter how pissed off I am, I'm still just this fucking rat in a cage at the end of the game.
Look, I've seen that Mousetrap work. Those mice are too fucking stupid to move away from the cheese.
Yeah.
When the guy hits the bathtub, the song ain't gonna convince me. No.
Any mouse I've seen would run like hell. The mouse guy jumped in a bathtub.
Yeah.
Just watching all this shit happen. There's a net over me.
I'd move, but I'm just a really big Rube Goldberg fan, so
my number one, I'm done with deep cuts. I'm going with Cherub Rock. I think listening to everybody talk about all these songs, like Tonight, and Bullet with Butterfly Wings and everything, it's just like, holy shit, any of these easily. But for me, it's Cherub Rock. Cherub Rock was a weird song for me because like back in the day, as I take a sip of my prune juice and like you guys remember, like if you didn't own an album, you couldn't listen to it until the DJ on the radio decided to play the goddamn song. And at the time, Today was more popular. At the time, Melancholy had already been out by the time I kind of got hold of this. And like I had heard Cherub Rock, and I'm like, God, was that one song? What is that one song? I think I like it, but I haven't heard it enough. God. And I wind up buying Siamese Dream, knowing Today, knowing Disarm, and I'm flipping through the songs, and I'm like, with my friend, we were driving down the road, and I'm like, none of these is the song I bought this album for. And I'm like, well, let's start from the beginning. Holy shit, this is it. It's such a good song. Like, first of all, there's a lot of emotion tied up in Smashing Pumpkins songs, just in the lyrics and everything, and the backstory that we've covered a lot today. And Cherub Rock is a little more simpler. It's actually, Billy Corgan kind of like being frustrated with the music industry on the song specifically, but I love that it's upbeat. I love the driving chorus. It's got that characteristic that I love, where the guitar, Ehal's part, and Corgan's voice just play perfectly off each other. It's got a badass solo too. So that's my own personal number one, but there's so many that could go here, and these top tens are just so freaking hard for a band that has so many big songs.
That was interesting because, like I said, I interviewed a couple of people. I just asked them their favorite song, but 1979 came up a lot, and then I happened to stumble across, and I guess I don't know how old the poll was, or if it was a poll, or if just the editors did it, but Rolling Stone ranked all of the Smashing Pumpkins songs, and they had Cherub Rock at number 1.
Wow.
And I had taken it off my list pretty early in the process, and then when I saw that, I was like, shit, I missed something on this song. And so I listened to it a couple more times after that, and it didn't get up on my list again, but it was it was a good song. I did enjoy it. So there must be something to it if you're also telling me that it's your number 1. So
I'm a sucker for Siamese Dream though, so don't listen to me. I also had Jackie Blue on my list. You can't take what I say seriously.
One last thought I had here was I was thinking about that song Travels that I had at number 3, where he just says those couple words here and there, and I was thinking like it might be the only song of theirs where I actually can understand every word. And I wonder if like subconsciously that's like a little point in its favor of like, nobody's he played it smart. He only did 4 words per line here, and I can understand all 4 of them. So there's that. So
it's like that book you were assigned in high school that you liked best because you could understand it more than most people.
Oh goodness.
That's funny.
Oh man. What a bunch of lists that was. 3 good lists, and then I have this huge list of songs I need to re-listen to as well. So
100% here too.
That's good. Well, I don't know. Brett's got the official scores if we're counting a quote unquote winner tonight, but I was like, Dan's got all the power here with this last choice, and then he fucking picked a song that I don't think anybody else picked. So I don't know. Oh, you did too. Okay, all right.
7th.
Well, this is gonna be interesting. What do we got, Brett?
Well, this was a pretty incredible list, and just from the fact that so there's 3 of us picking 10 songs. We picked 25 different songs
between
the 3 of us. There was very little overlap in these lists. It was just really incredible. I think it's probably the biggest spread we've had on any of these so far.
Yeah, those not a Booker episode we did, probably the biggest spread.
And moving on. Okay, so like I said, only a few songs had overlap, and those naturally got the highest total scores. So
can I guess? I'm trying to remember to do from memory. It's Cherub Rock, Bullet with Butterfly, Today, Tonight. What am I missing as the 5th one? Would it be? The problem is like all mine are fucking left field.
33 or 0 maybe?
0.
It's a number. It's a number.
Oh, is it 33 then? No, I thought it was 0.
I don't know.
All of those were on my initial cut down list, by the way. I just say like all of these. I'm like, oh yeah.
It is 1979.
1960. Oh,
coming in, we'll call that the number 5 position. 1979. And we had then two songs tied for third and fourth. That is Today and Cherub Rock. And tying each other for 1 and 2, Bull with Butterfly Wings and Tonight.
Wow.
So you had 4 of the 5. Correct.
We so was there not a song that all three of us picked then? I'm
not a single one.
Wow,
that's crazy.
That is impressive because we've done maybe, I don't know, 10 or 12 of these episodes, and I don't know that we've had a spread like that before.
I don't believe so.
I mean, part of it's like I came in here with fucking Jackie Blue.
I mean, yes, that's true, but I mean, it's not. But also, like, it's not like Brett and I took a lot of deep cuts with ours. You know, I mean, I had a couple of some newer ones in here, but even like of the ones that were famous in the day, I feel like you and I chose some different ones off those lists as well, which you know just does speak to like how wide their catalog is and how deep it is too. I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was really happy to see Rhinoceros. Someone call out Rhinoceros because that one, I'm like, I need to put the ones I love. I have 3 from Gish that I put on my initial list, and I'm like, Gish deserves some love. And then to see also with shoot, what was the one that you picked from Gish, Cody?
I Am One.
I Am One. Yeah. It's like a surprisingly good album. Usually first albums for bands, you're like, okay, yeah, they'll get better one day. I can see myself liking this. So,
yeah, no, there were a couple albums I listened to, some of the later stuff that I was like, nothing off here is going to grab me. And I think I mentioned like a couple chats with both you, Dan, and the bigger group of like, I don't know the reason, but Spotify doesn't have Zeitgeist or Machina 2. I don't know the like licensing issues or if that's Corgan or what that is. I don't know why those two are not on there, but so I had to kind of seek those out elsewhere. But there were some albums that I like listened through and instantly was like, nah, nothing on that one's gonna grab me necessarily. But there is a lot of good ones out there, and a lot of songs off of those albums that I was like, ooh, this is pretty good. But I definitely want to check out the 3-album rock opera in its entirety sometime, maybe when I'm just like, I don't know, sitting in my lawn, high on mushrooms or something, and just listen to the whole thing straight through.
Yeah, that was one I didn't make it through the whole thing. I just ran out of time, but I am interested in go back and listen to some more of that.
Yeah.
I had no appetite for Machina 2.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
Could have been because I listened to it towards the end. I don't know, but I just, it didn't do much for me necessarily. I don't know that one did for me either necessarily, but
what, like at the time it came out, I went through it a whole bunch because I was like a big Pumpkin fan.
Yeah.
And I just like that was the time like after listening to it enough, I'm like, I don't want to feel sad anymore. And it's like, I mean, one of the songs is literally called Blue Skies Brings Tears, right? It's just, Heavy Metal Machine was good, Raindrops and Sunshine was good. Stand Inside Your Love could have made one of my lists. I actually like that song. But after that album came out, I was like, eh. And I didn't realize that Iha left after, I just read this just now. Iha left after Machina 2.
Yeah, I think it was literally Corgan for a while.
Yeah.
Which also is, I don't know. Does that say more about the band or more about him? I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know.
Man, it's just, you read about what that the members went through. It's just like, holy smokes. Oh.
Yeah. Let me think here. Dan, I got to ask while we got you on the air here, since it's been about 80 weeks, have you listened to Fear Inoculum by Tool yet all the way through or not?
God damn it. No, but the problem is my music listening time is at work, and because it's like high concentration time, I have a triad, a trinity, a holy trinity, if you will, of productivity. That is techno, coffee, and chewing gum. And so it's not usually my musically exploratory time. It's usually like my focus until I get a nosebleed time. It's on my list.
Do you still run?
Yes.
I told you to put it on while you're running. It's great running music.
I think this is the answer. I think this is the answer.
Okay, we're going to check in with Dan in 80 episodes and see if he has completed that like 70-minute album. 70 minutes, 80 weeks. Just keep that in mind for a little ratio there, people.
Some of those weeks I can't spare a minute, man.
You're not running during those weeks?
Okay, I got to log off now.
Some of those are good. Good, I'm in my 40s, but still pumping the pavement here, running music. But anyway, that's all I have main thoughts here wise. You guys have anything else to wrap up the pod on the pumpkin part at least?
I really enjoyed this, and I'm very glad y'all invited me on and put up with me.
A lot of fun.
I also enjoyed it quite a bit, especially your kind of more unique perspective on some of those deeper cuts that are maybe a little more out of the wheelhouse of myself, or I won't speak for Brett, but I feel like I know more of their commercial stuff, the hits, if you will, which I think, as Brett said too, is kind of hard to overcome the biases of the hits, right?
Yep.
Even if it's, all things considered, two good songs. One's just got the memories, and it was the one you heard a million times. And I think Enter Sandman won the Metallica one. But all right, here's our hypothetical to go off the air then today, guys. I'll give you a second to think about this. You are going to a concert where the main act is going to be the Smashing Pumpkins to close out the night. But who is the act right before them on the double billing? So I'm going to leave that open-ended as far as if you're just choosing a band you'd like to see, or somebody you think stylistically would match up well with them, or sound-wise would sound up well with them, whatever it is. I'll let you guys think about that for a minute. For all of our audience out there, ideally, and hopefully, fingers crossed, next week we are going to be finally getting to our video game adaptations episode, which we've pushed back like a month and a half here, I think, or something like that. And I know several of us, including Brett and Justin and myself, have been pushing ourselves to try to introduce ourselves to some things that were made into some properties we were not perhaps aware of, even for television and movie. A lot of things out there from video games that have been adapted. If you're thinking of like the awful 90s adaptations, there were definitely those into the 2000s, but there has been a lot of them made in the last 10 years or so, especially if you want to gander into the more anime-ish realm of like high quality adult cartooning of some of these things. There's some cool things out there as well. As a matter of fact, if you just go to Netflix and type in video games, I think Netflix alone currently has 40-some adaptations of things that have been made, which blows my mind. But so we'll see what else we get to in the next week, and then we'll present some findings. And I believe we're going to have, it sounds like, perhaps a little cameo by Mr. Matthew Hudson on that episode as well. So let's hope that works out, and let's check back in with the guys here.
In the right order.
We should make the game ahead of time. What is Matt going to pick? Because that's going to be fun.
You should put bets on that.
It's going to be like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. Although he'd probably come up with some crap I've never heard of somehow too.
He will find something.
He already has been talking about Maniac Mansion for like 2 days because we mentioned that, and we were like, A, that wasn't a good TV show, and B, it was not a good adaptation, but to each their own. All right, let's check in with you guys. Who would like to tell us what your opening band is here before the Pumpkins play? Who do you got?
I guess I'll take a shot at this first. So I honestly, I don't think that they would be the opener. I think they probably would be the main act. But based on the way the question was posed, because I haven't seen them, and I really wish I had gotten the chance to see them, I would want Soundgarden to be the opening act.
No way.
Ooh.
Yes. That's exactly what I was going to say.
And now I'll never get the chance.
And my argument was going to be way less profound than yours. I think it's like two of the most iconic music videos of the same era, Tonight, and Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun.
Those go together pretty well.
Oh my goodness.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm relieved.
Well, that's obviously the right answer. So
obviously.
You both picked Soundgarden, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's the right answer then. Yeah, I was trying to think of another band with a fruit or vegetable I could put in there, but yeah, I
I
guess
was going to just make up a name, but
go with that. Breaking watermelons was the correct answer. Sorry.
Swan.
pounding beef.
That's got to be like gourds, right? Because you got to stick with the.
Oh, right.
It's
I like the idea of the opening act being Swan, and it's just Billy Corgan wearing a mustache.
That's pretty good. Have you ever listened to his solo stuff? I have not.
I haven't.
I didn't even. I technically didn't even know he had solo stuff until I was reading about that.
I think that's technically Smashing Pumpkins from 2006 to 2018, right?
Could be. I would love to do. I might save Zwan for an album exchange sometime. As I mentioned, I unironically do love that album. So, all right, I think that is going to do us here at the FONDpod for this evening. That's a pretty healthy time we spent together here. I want to thank Dan for stopping in, checking us out, and Brett, as always, for being here and tying Justin tonight with episode count. There it is. Oh man, so got leaderboard change here. But all right, anyway, I'm Cody. Let's get to us all. FONDpod here today. Take care, fondlings and fondlers. We will see you all the next time. Bye.
See you guys next time.
Hey, fondlings and fondlers. This has been another episode of Friends Occasionally Not Disagreeing, your favorite podcast. It's most people's favorite podcasts, or at least so my mom tells me. You can check us out all over the place online at our homepage, www.fondpod.com or fondpodcast.com. You can also check us out across your social media sites, including Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, and anywhere else you get your streamed podcast. Thanks so much.